So what we're proposing to do is a start a season, or you could do it as a layup as well, possibly. So it's done for ready for the next season. A £500, one day, one hit, check your bike over, see what's going on. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have our own checklist, which includes wheel bearings, brake condition, spoke condition. So basically it's just checking the whole bike all the way through, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And if there's something small needs doing, included in that is check the timing, check your tappets, you know, all the bits on the engine to make it run properly, check all your carburetor settings. Anything small we find, obviously we'll do within the price. But on saying that, if there's anything major we find, like a crack in the frame or the wheel bearings are hanging out because that's not a 5-minute job, then we refer back to you.
Yeah.
And you can then make a decision whether you want it done then or bring it back at a later date, but you know the issues with the bike.
Yeah.
Included in that, plugs, points, condenser, grease all of the grease nipples and change the oil. That's in with a £500. And obviously just check everything. If it's something like a light bulb gone, it takes 2 minutes to change the light bulb, but obviously you'll get charged for the light bulb.
Yeah. But the plugs, points will replace the plugs and the points.
Yeah, replace the plugs, the points and condenser, so you know you've got a new electrical system set up. But it's a general run through, fault condition, headstock tightness. Again, headstock take 5 minutes to tighten up. It's things majorly. If you've got to start taking the bike apart,
yeah,
like if the clutch is slipping, then that's not a 5-minute job.
Yeah.
Taking the wheels out, do the wheel bearings. Front wheel bearings on a WLA are easy. Back ones are a pain in the bum. WLC, the fronts are a pain in the bum as well. It's literally just a run through of the bike, make sure everything's as I would like it to be. Like I say, you can do it at the end of the season, you know the bike's ready to go in the spring.
Yeah.
Or you can do it at the beginning of the season, ready for the season to ride.
When would you suggest to be best to be done? It must be at the beginning.
Normally better at the beginning of the season because you're not laid up for 3 months, 4 months, however long it is, you know.
Yeah.
Check your chains, make sure they're not loose and flapping around. Your carburetor settings, check your tappets, check your ignition timing, change the plugs, change the points, change the condenser, and that's pretty much, unless there's something majorly mechanically wrong with it, that will get it running fine.
Yeah.
You know, unless it's blown hole in a piston or whatever, you know, you don't know. Again, like I say, check the wheel bearings, check all your lighting, make sure the horn works, make sure your dip switch works, make sure the advance and retard works. Just a general run over the whole bike, you know.
Yeah.
And you've got peace of mind as a customer that the bike's been completely gone through at the beginning of the season. Things go wrong, obviously, that's part and parcel of owning an old motorbike, isn't it?
That's it.
But generally these things are, once they've been done once, they're pretty good for the rest of the season, you know.
Yeah.
We have our checklist, so we've got front wheel general condition and tyres, front brake and wheel bearings, front fork condition, rear brake and wheel, you know, front and rear wheel obviously, front fork condition, headstock play, handlebar controls, clock, switches, lighting, petrol tank taps and lines, oil tank taps and lines, radiator if it's a car, obviously doesn't have one, general engine condition, general gearbox condition, general clutch condition, exhaust condition, seating, because on the Harley normally the seat post is knackered, that one's good.
God, I think that's the first bike I've seen.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Stands, battery condition, lubrication and grease points, and is MOT required, service required, that's in with your £500 anyway. So that's basically the minor checklist. So it's simple things like what's the chain like? That's nice, got a fair amount of play in it. It's not completely knackered, got a bit of side play, but that's fine. On your primary chain, you undo your 2 screws there, I won't get into it now. Under your 2 screws there and you can feel the play on the chain in there. If you think the clutch needs adjusting, take that one off and you adjust the clutch in there. Check the forks. You look at that tab washer.
Yeah.
That shouldn't move. See it moving?
Oh, right.
So that needs looking at. It's little things like that. It's only a couple of minutes to do it, but it needs addressing. So steering damper. It's all working. Yeah, it's just little things like that, just to the eye, what's going on, you know. Advance and return. See, that isn't working properly on this one, so that'll need addressing. Throttle's fine. Front brake could do with a bit of a nip up. Yeah, it's generally run through the whole bike.
How far are you willing to go?
Anything that will take me sort of 5 minutes to adjust, I'll adjust.
Yeah.
Obviously run through with grease points. This bike's a little bit different. It's a 48 WL, not a military one. Little quirky things, toolbox on that side, different dash, gear shift pattern different. Couple of grease points different, but
And this checklist idea, is this for any bike that you could bring in?
pretty much, yeah. Realistically,
Any bike, any age?
yeah, pretty much. I would say, yeah. I mean, there's certain quirky things we know because we do a lot of WLs.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could address it to any bike really. Hence why we've got the water cooling on there, the battery conditions, and you know all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, certain rules apply. Yeah, without a doubt, between a modern bike and an old bike. Right. Okay. So we went through our in quotes fixed price check over. Obviously, we knew the bike wasn't running properly, so just a sort of quick video to say how things can escalate.
Yep.
With things that are inherently wrong. So when you go through your checks, you get your timing check, you get your set of plugs, points, check everything, all your tappets, make sure everything's done. But on this one, additional costs were like the left hand twist grip for your advance and retard didn't work at all. Okay, so that didn't work. There was no movement on it, the cable was wrong, it was too thick. They're still playing it because the slot in the handlebar here is worn, it's too wide.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do about that. All you can do is try and make the best of what you've got.
Yeah.
Yeah, without getting a new set of handlebars or trying to weld that, file it all back into shape, but then you've got to make sure that the inside is cleared because your slider goes up and down it.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a no-go trying to do that. So I had to strip all that out, change the cable, rebuild the twist grip. Distributor base wasn't on properly at all, so that was not moving as it should do. But now you've got enough movement there to fire it up properly and get it all going. So that's the sort of thing that can happen, you know. It's not a lot, but it all adds hours.
Yeah.
It's not a massive amount by any way or form. What else? The back wheel was hanging out, so I had to do that.
Back wheels hanging out.
Yeah, basically it wasn't done up. Well, the nut was tight, I checked it, but there was too much thread.
Oh, okay.
So, rode it around, and it was all all over the place. So, shimmed that out, repacked it, redone. Right, okay, so finally got it going.
Yep.
Still wouldn't pick up revs properly, which was the complaint.
Yeah.
So, inherently, you've done your ignition timing, you've reset your advance and retard, you've done your tappets, you've done everything like that, can only be down to fuel.
Okay.
So, nipped up the barrel nipples there, they were slightly loose, nothing to majorly worry about. That's something you check when we do them anyway. The carburettor, so basically the next thing to do is take the carburettor apart.
Yeah.
Stripped it all, cleaned it all out, nothing majorly wrong in any of that, but the float and the arm that goes to the needle off the float was completely the wrong shape. It should be realistically fairly flat. It came along off the pivot point, dropped down 1/4 inch and then went like that.
Oh, okay.
So that was completely wrong. Float level was too low, so I had to, they're very, very, very finicky things, the floats in these, and you've got to get them set up right. They have to be 1/32 of an inch that way, as you're looking down at the top of the float, and so it just misses the outside of the bowl because of the taper of the needles inside. So that wouldn't seal petrol then, so you have to keep playing around. I've got a big box of different seats and needles. Right, so that's all. Right, this is, see that arm there? So your float bolts to that.
Yeah.
Little ring float there. That's your pivot point, that hole in the bottom.
Yeah.
And that's your needle. Sits in there. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's like that. So as your float level goes up, it pushes that needle down. Like that, yeah?
Yeah.
That sits inside there. Okay? Now the original needles didn't have the Viton tip on them, they were just solid needles. But these things, being normal crap reproduction Harley Davidson stuff that people make,
Yeah.
so best will in the world, those three edges are holding that centralised in your hole,
Yeah.
with a hole in the middle, and the bit that's going in it is completely offset one way. No matter what you do with that, it's not going to seal.
Yeah.
So
His complaint was that it was in first gear. He could really, once he gets above first gear, it starts cutting out.
yeah, I'm not surprised.
How come? Why would it be okay in first gear but not in second and third? Based on that,
You probably, if you can get it to go fast enough
so if the revs are
and get
high,
it into second gear, you'd probably be able to ride it.
Yeah.
But if it's not going to pick up revs at all,
Yeah.
it ain't going to happen. So you're just probably bumbling along in first gear, you know. But everything that was wrong with that, I'm surprised it even started,
Really.
to be perfectly honest with you, yeah. So that was that. So rebuilt the car, stripped it all out, reset everything. So that's just an example of things that can
Yeah.
be additional as such, because it's over and above what we would deem
Yeah.
normal for your service and check over, you know. I mean, I haven't tried to start it again. Shall I try and start it again?
If you're feeling up to it.
Put my phone over there before I throw it everywhere. Pushing on. Bear in mind that wouldn't pick up at all. Once. Might need priming again, but I doubt it. A little bit back on that. Yeah, it's a happy engine now.
Yeah. Well, it started really nicely, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it goes, yeah. So like I say, I've got to get Dan to give it a road test to run around.
What's the benefit of that road test? Not just going through the gears, but
No. I mean, anything else. Dan rides them all the time. All the time. He'll go, steering feels funny. You know, this feels funny. That something's not right there. Blah blah blah. You need somebody who rides them all the time,
Yeah.
and is used to them. I mean, he
it
does.
takes it up hills and stuff.
Oh yeah, he'll probably do 6, 7, 8,000 miles a year on his.
Yeah.
And he'll know straight away, like, something's wobbly there, something's not quite right there. Whereas, yes, I know my way around all the mechanicals, but it's totally different if you ride one all of the time.
Yeah.
You know.
If he comes back and says, "Oh, something's slightly wrong," you'll then adjust that. He'll then take it out again to make sure.
Yeah, it depends what it is. If it's something stupid and small, like clutch needs a little bit here,
Yeah.
he can tell just by going from there to the end of the road there.
Yeah.
So I'll adjust it up and he'll go, yeah, that's fine. You know, if it's something major, then he comes back and gives it another run.
Cool. And also on a rebuild, it's certainly good to have a shakedown of the bike.
Oh, definitely, yeah, most definitely, yeah. Yeah.
Why is that? I mean, why do all the nuts and bolts?
Everybody misses something.
No, but what the nuts and bolts? They have a tendency to loosen, but they need retightening a lot of the time, don't they?
Can do, but probably 99% of that is you miss things.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, something like the bottom end of that and the cylinder heads on that. Yeah.
On the Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got to torque cylinder heads down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to leak. You've got to torque the bottom end down and split pin them. otherwise it's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
They're a must.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't not do it because you know you've got to torque it and you know you've got to split pin the bottom end. You can leave a sump bolt loose because there's 32 of them.
Yeah.
You go, and somebody talks to you. You know,
You miss one.
You miss one. Same as that. You know, you've got to do the gearbox up rock hard. You know about that. You've got to do the engine. You know about that. You could drive down the road and the mudguard bolt fall out because somebody's, oh, here's a cup of tea.
Yeah.
It's human error.
Yeah.
You know, unless you get every single nut and bolt as you're doing it, and mark it off. You know, right, I've fitted that, tick by it.
Yeah.
But to list every single nut and bolt is it's hard to do. You know, everybody's infallible. You know.
Oh God, yeah.